Hey guys, welcome back to Life After Work. This is the STP model shop. That's ships, trains, quotation mark, tanks, quotation mark end, and planes workshop. And please, if you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe. Give us a like. Give us a comment. If you dislike, instead of dislike, just give us a comment so we can improve our channel. Hey, welcome to Life After Work. Okay, what I've been able to do, I took my ruler with the holes in it. I stuck these rudders down into the one that was an 1/8 inch, and I worked it into this 1/8 inch hole right here, back and forth, and it rounded it off really well, the pin that's in the bottom of this, and it made it exactly 1/8 inch round. Well, that was still too big for the holes in the hull, so I got my 8 inch drill bits out and with my fingers just turned it, and there was quite a bit to clean out of those holes, so they weren't even close to the original diameter of these pins. After I did that, they slipped in nice and snugly vertically. I was able to get them aligned and straight. Now, these pieces that I put on back here, that's these pieces here, one on each side of this. I had to grind those and grind them and file them and sand them, and they still don't fit perfectly, so I'm going to let the glue set up for a while, and I'm going to try to take the ridges off of it, and I probably will have to put the slightest amount of filler in it just to satisfy myself. Now, these prop shafts right here, there were no indicators at all on where this was to sit. There was no alignment figures or anything, so you really have to eyeball it to make sure you get them straight. And that puts the prop shaft all the way out here on this edge just to fit this in without it sitting canted off at an angle. And just my knowledge of ships and common sense says that needed to be as straight back into the engine room as possible to prevent any cavitation. So I'm holding off putting the screws on this. And by the way, old U.S. Navy, they're screws because that's the pattern they leave in the water when they turn. You can call them propellers if you want. So anyway, I got a lot of cleanup left to do with this, but I've got these pieces on. Still not 100% satisfied with this one. I wish I had it just a little bit straighter, but that's going to do for right now, and I'm going to move on. I've been trying to work out a plan for how I'm going to do the openings for the anchors up here, and I've got a plan for that now. The main thing was trying to make sure they were symmetrical on each side, and I've decided I'm going to go ahead and get the anchors out, the replacement anchors that I'm using, and I will go ahead and put them together because the shanks are obviously separate, and I've got to do some minor drilling and attach those. I'll drill the holes in the hull where I've decided they should go. I'll push the anchors in there. Then I'm going to get some milliput. I don't have any right now, but I'm going to get some milliput, just the tiniest little bit, and wrap around the anchors and sort of shape them so that they will be fitted to the anchors a little bit better. It'll just be easier that way. Then I'll pull the anchors out, let it set up, shape it a little bit. That should be. So I was just getting ready. I've got the rudders up in here. They come up into these sockets right here, and you'll see a lot of stuff in here that you wonder, why do they do all this? Well, this can actually be converted to an RC ship, so I wouldn't do it with this one. I would consider doing that with the Tamiya one, but not this one. So what I'm going to do is, just to make sure I've got plenty of glue in here, I'm going to put it from this side down into the shafts that should secure these rudders extremely well. So that takes care of that. So now I'll move on. I think I have gone ahead and marked, hang on a minute, I've marked along here where I believe I need to put these tiny pieces. I'm still looking at different pictures of the New Jersey because, quite frankly, the instructions don't give you any good indication whatsoever. You probably won't see my pencil markings, but I've got 6 of them on this side and there's about 8 on the other side. I'm not putting those on yet. I'm going to get more done under here, get more done on the bow, and once all that is done, just before I'm ready to prime, and I've been thinking about priming it, I'm going to need to put the deck. This deck is going to have to go on, and there's a really good reason why. Let me show you. If you look at the back of this, and I keep getting you out of frame, if you look, you'll see separation lines here. This is just a really poor fit that you get with this model. That all has to be very tight. Now I can pull it down some, but it's still going to have a little filler. It's still going to have to be filed down so that all of this fits perfectly and looks as though it's one piece, because that's the way the ship is. It looks like it's one piece. And I'll come up here somewhere and I'll put a picture of it again along with this so you can see. Because when I come in and spray this with my base coat, if I do it separated and put it together, it's never going to line up right. So I want my primer to cover any of these joints and make this all look as though it's one piece. The really bad spot, and I've seen this where people have built this model and published it on YouTube, right here, there's a hole on both sides. That's part of that fit issue. And that has to be filled. There is no hole there. So this really is going to have to be put together before I can prime it. So I've got a lot of work to do there. So I'm still a ways away from priming, but at least I'm getting my hull in good shape and getting all my extra pieces. I went ahead and removed both of these propeller shafts because I wanted to try to find a way to move this in some. Now I think this shaft should be located about here, but there's no way to fit it in. I'd have to cut one of these legs almost totally off. I went ahead and put the screws on it because I didn't want to get the screws too close to this surface right here. I brought it over about 1/10 of an inch, and that's the best I can do, but it's still not aligned correctly. It should be almost in the middle of this, but scale's just totally ridiculous. And right now it's just about as straight as I can get it. I got a little more out of it, but that's about it. And I'm going to have to, they had the angles all wrong on this side. I haven't done any adjusting on it. I've only adjusted the other. And it's going to have to be filled some. But it's better. I said it was about 1/10 of an inch. And really it's a little over 1/10 of an inch. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. About 1/5 of an inch is what it seems to come out. So anyway, that's where it's going to stay. I'm now going to take the other one and I'm going to adjust the legs on this one just as I did the first one and get it on. And that's the end of this exercise. I'm just not going to mess with it anymore. It's not worth it. I think it's close enough. I'm still shaping these pieces I put on back here, trying to get them flattened and lined up. So I see if I have to put any putty in it. I may not have to. But I'm just going to put a tiny bit of putty around here, and most of what I put on I'll wipe back off. I'm just going to put on what's necessary. So that's some progress. That's satisfied at least one of my concerns. And it looks pretty good, actually. Doesn't look bad at all. So anyway, that's looking like I'm going to be able to move on from this exercise here just in a little bit. So there you go. I've got both the screws and the shafts on there. That's about as good as I'm going to get it. I did manage to bring it in. When I first did it, it literally had the shaft coming in all the way over on this edge. And I cut off quite a bit on these two inside legs. I just cut them off, then sanded them smooth. I don't think it's bad. I'd like it a little bit better, a little bit different. But I even thought at one point about cutting these legs completely off on both of these and just getting some styrene over here and making them from scratch. But I decided that was going to be even more of a pain in the butt because I could just as easily scratch adjust these. So I took my sprue cutters and I cut the legs off on just the inside ones, and that allowed me to move everything in. Now, my main concern was trying to keep the two screws in alignment, and I believe I was successful with that. So I think that's it for this exercise back here. Now I've got a little more work to do on the stern, and I will be moving a little bit further along with the sides and try to get those bent pieces put on. So that's I'll be back in a little bit. It appears to be just about as close as I can get those shafts, and they looked a little out of alignment, but I measured them and they are exactly parallel to this. So there's some kind of an optical illusion going on with the camera. So that's it. I'm done with those. If you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe. Give us a like. Give us a comment. If you dislike, instead of dislike, just give us a comment so we can improve our channel. Hey, welcome to Life After Work.